Researchers in Sydney say a revolutionary new technique in genetic testing could help diagnose thousands of rare and mysterious diseases. It's called next-generation sequencing. Where it previously took weeks to analyse a single gene, computers can now decode all 20,000 genes in the human body in one go. And already the technique is transforming lives. Anne Barker reports.
Brandon Keesing is obsessed with soccer. Like many boys his age, he's dreamt of playing in the A-League.
Probably one of the things that I love the most.
But Brandon is not your typical 12-year-old. He knows he'll never run onto a soccer ground. For most of his life, he's been in a wheelchair. His mother, Kaya, says she's just glad her son is alive.
They told us that it was a problem with the muscles and fatigue, which was everything that Brandon had.
July 2004.
Almost from birth, Brandon had serious health problems. At 6 months, he stopped breathing and was rushed to Westmead Children's Hospital with severe pneumonia. In his first 2 years, he was in and out of intensive care wards with chest infections. Every virus he caught reinfected his lungs and put his life at risk.
For such a long time, they didn't know what it was, and with all these tests and scans, and they had done everything possible and still couldn't find it, and he was just nicknamed the mystery boy.
This is the
paediatrician John Christodoulou, an expert in rare diseases, says his genetics team was baffled.
We were concerned for Brandon because over the years we saw that he was progressively deteriorating in his abilities, and that was a major concern for us.
And Brandon's condition deteriorated fast. By the time he was 4, his doctors suspected a degenerative mitochondrial disease, meaning he might never reach adulthood.
Generally speaking, the earlier it presents, the more severe it is, and the shorter the expected lifespan. So, for instance, we've had babies present in the newborn period with mitochondrial disease, and in that situation, sadly, those babies rarely live beyond 1 or a couple of years of age.
Very quickly, Brandon went from being a happy, walking child to little more than a rag doll, without the strength to feed himself or write, let alone walk.
The moments when I really struggled, it was really, really bad. But sometimes it's not too bad. Even this year, I get sad over seeing people playing around or doing sport, so that's one of the things that gets to me, especially at school.
Most devastating of all was the news that for most sufferers, mitochondrial diseases have no cure or any effective treatment. At best, Brandon would never get out of the wheelchair.
That was hard, watching him fade away, and being the only boy in the family. You know, you want to see, I wanted to see my little man get out and about and have fun and kick a ball, and he wasn't able to do that, and it was heartbreaking.
G'day, come on in, take a seat.
It was years later, when Brandon was 10, that doctors called him to Westmead Children's Hospital to give him life-changing news. They'd been wrong all along. Revolutionary advances in genetic sequencing proved he didn't have mitochondrial disease at all.
In recent years, the capacity to read the genetic code of every single gene, all 20,000 of them in the human body, has reached a point where it's now efficient, accurate, cost-effective to be able to do this.
It's called next-generation sequencing, and where previously it took weeks, even months, to analyse the code of a single gene, today laboratory computers can decode all 20,000 genes in the human body in one go. Almost immediately, Westmead's researchers could pinpoint which one of Brandon's genes had a mutation.
And then at this point here, there's a change in the A to the G. So this is precisely where the mistake is in the gene, and then the rest of it's all normal again. Okay, why don't you hop up on the bed, we'll have a look at you. Wow, you know, your walking's improved so dramatically since the last time I saw you. It's fantastic.
Doctors discovered he in fact had congenital myasthenia, another genetic disease which, although incurable, isn't usually fatal and can be treated with medication. Finding that one gene in 20,000 has transformed Brandon's life. A simple drug has restored his muscle strength and suddenly he began walking again.
That was unreal. I will never forget that day.
It's a very gratifying situation to be in. You know, we've all shed tears from time to time, both happy and sad tears, and this was certainly one of the happy tears times.
Westmead Children's Hospital hopes to invest in more lab facilities to help diagnose and treat thousands of rare children's diseases. Geneticists say next-generation sequencing is a revolution in medicine, and investigations being pioneered here foreshadow new tests and one-day drugs for patients everywhere.
Our ideal goal is, of course, to be able to identify the genetic cause with a view to being able to implement specific treatments.
While Brandon will need a wheelchair for the rest of his life, visits to doctors like John Christodoulou will become far less frequent.
Keep your wings closed. Fantastic.
And with high school from next year, he's determined to grab hold of new opportunities.
I'm outside a lot more, I'm doing things at school a lot more.
I think I need to sort of take a step back and let him, you know, spread his wings, as they say, and just go for it.
Hi, mate.
Anne Barker in Sydney.